Hello class, Mr. Guarino here. In this video I'm going to illustrate how to use built-in assets from Adobe Animate to make a character walk cycle. First thing we're going to do is start a new file in Adobe Animate. And make sure it's on 1280 by 720, 30 frame rate, HTML5 canvas. This is probably the most important thing, and then click create. The reason why that's most important is because we want a character without any background, and you need it to be canvas so that you can go to properties, choose stage color, and choose no color so that it's transparent. Next, what we have to do is, although Adobe Animate does give you these built-in static assets which you can then go and animate, they don't work exactly the way I like them to work, or I want them to work for you. A lot of these things are made up as movie clip symbols, which are good if you want to control them with code, but not as good if you just want to do animation. So what I did was I made it so that it would be easier for you guys to get this project to work by me converting everything to the way that it would work best for you and putting it in a separate document. And so I put that document in our Google Classroom called Character Walk Cycle Animation. So if you click on that, you'll see that I have this file called Built-in Character Assets. So if you click on that, and eventually there'll be a video there in that assignment too. Obviously this video that I'm making. So here you click download because you cannot open a Adobe file in the Chrome browser. So you click download and you download it to your folder in your Google Drive. Now I actually have two connected, one for me as a teacher and one for me as a student. So I'm going to make believe I'm a student and click here, double click my drive, find my student folder, Mr. G, that's like my fictitious student ID. I double click that, and here's all the stuff I've worked on in this class. So now I'm just going to save this here. And then I'm going to go back here, and I want to open that. So let's go to File, Open, and go to my folder, not my downloads, go to my student folder. Find that folder, and here it is, built-in character assets for walk cycle. Click open, give it a couple seconds, and there it is. So what I did that makes it easier for you, if I can just open this up like this, I put each one of those characters that Adobe gives you into one file. When I put each one on the stage, it made a different layer. So I just left it that way. Here they are in the assets panel, but like I said, they don't work as well as the way I've done it here. And what I did was, these things are movie clip symbols here, as I stated. But here I made them graphic symbols. So if I click on one and I go to properties, you'll see it says graphic. And if I go to the library, you'll see that they're all graphic symbols. Movie clip has this something that looks like a movie reel. So these will work better for us. Notice there's only 4 of these little twirly down things, which shows you all these assets. And the reason for that is, don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure that what Adobe did is, like for this guy, the farmer, well, he's got actually 2 farmers, but for like the explorer boy and the traveler girl, the arms and the legs are the same, but the shoes are different. So they used a lot of the assets for more than one of these characters. Okay, but pick any one you want. I've been working with this, so I'm going to pick that one. That's College Boy Side. So I'm just going to click on him once, go up to Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to go back to my new one, and I'm just going to say Edit. You could say paste in place, paste in center. I guess I'll just put it in the center. So now here's that exact one. I'm going to leave this open because as I work with it, I may forget, or maybe I should say I will forget, exactly how this thing looks. And what I mean by that is, let me make this something that fits pretty good. 350, maybe 300. I may forget that this arm is behind the body, and that this leg, the left leg, is behind the right leg, and the positions of stuff. So if I leave this open, I can refer back to this, and it will help me. Before I go any further, it's always a good idea, and I'm pressing Control plus to zoom in. So you could use the drop down here, or you can do Control plus. Before I go any further, I'm going to do File, Save As, so that anything happens to my computer, I won't lose the work I'm working on. I'm just going to call it College Boy Walk Cycle. There we go. So that every couple of minutes, as I make some progress, I'll just resave this, and I won't lose any work. So now, what I have to do is animate all these pieces. If I click on him one time, you'll notice he's one whole thing. He's this symbol, College Boy side. If I double click, and I click on something, you'll see that here's all the individual pieces that make him up. I want to view this as an exploded view, just because it's easier to use this bone tool that we're going to be using. So if you click on each one and just kind of drag them away, so it's an exploded view, so you can see all the pieces separately. Just drag them away one at a time. You know, you get a foot or a shoe, a lower leg, an upper leg, that's that one back there, and then a foot, a lower leg, and upper leg. That's a little close, maybe I want to drag it a little more. And there's also a body, a lower body, an upper body, and a head. Now if you accidentally, because I know sometimes we all get a little carried away with double clicking, if you accidentally double click, you're inside of all the artwork that you actually could adjust, but I suggest you don't. Just leave it the way it is, because this assignment is tricky enough. Just using what's built in. Notice now it says head 1 copy 2. That's just the way Adobe made it. So now I'm not in scene 1, I'm not even in the symbol, I'm inside the symbol, and it's actually, this is a mini movie clip symbol. I think if I double click it again, now I'm actually into the drawing object. So you can see there's a lot going on here. So stay here, just the College Boy symbol. So here are all the pieces, and we're going to connect them with the bone tool. But what most people do is they put a little thing on the outside of the hands and feet so that you can kind of twist the wrist a little better. So before we do that, notice everything right now is on layer 1. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it Controller. And layer 1, I'm just going to CB for College Boy. So back to the controller layer, I'm going to draw a little circle, just something I need out here. I could draw anything you want, just to connect to the rest of the arm. So I go to my click and hold down on the rectangle tool, go down to the oval tool, go to properties. I don't want any stroke, so make sure that's off. If it's on, I think it still works fine, but why bother? And then just have fill any color you want. I'm going to choose red. You can just draw an oval, but if you hold down shift, it restrains it to a circle, which probably is a little nicer. Now I can just draw 3, 4, 5 more of them, whatever I want. Or if I'm kind of smart, I could go to my select tool, click on this, say modify, convert to symbol, call it controller, or anything you want. Make sure it's graphic, say OK. So now in my library, I not only have the College Boy and all those assets that make him up, but I have a controller symbol, which means instead of redrawing it over again or copy and pasting, which all would be okay, I can just drag, and it's the exact same thing. Drag, drag, drag. I'm going to put one down here to go to the body, and you can even put one above the head if you choose to animate the head a little bit. So now that I have all that, I'm going to connect everything with the bone tool. Now the bone tool by default is not on. So if I go here, I actually don't know. How do I get rid of it? Probably if I go up to Window, Workspaces, Essentials, and I reset it. Yeah, see, it's not there. So if it's not there for you, just click these 3 dots. Here's the bone tool. Click drag. Put it anywhere here you want, like below the zoom tool, and then you have it. And then you can click this, and say close. So now using the bone tool, I'm going to drag from this controller up to the torso, up to the body. I think this is a torso. I don't know. The lower body, the upper body. So click, hold down, drag, let go. 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 Now the shoulder goes to the upper body, not to the head, obviously. So we click from here, or I should say the upper arm. Drag to the upper arm from the upper body. From the upper arm to the lower arm. From the lower arm to the hand. From the hand to the controller. From the upper body to the left arm. I know it's on the right side, but it's the person's left arm. Not from here to the other arm. I was about to make a mistake, but from here, from the upper arm to the forearm. Forearm to the hand, hand to the controller. Every time you do that, it's taking each one of these pieces and taking it off the CB layer and putting it on the armature layer. When I'm all done, these two layers should disappear. So let's continue. Disappear automatically, I should say. Click from the lower body to the upper leg to the lower leg to the foot, really shoe, and from the shoe to the controller. And then from the lower body to the upper leg to the lower leg to the lower foot, and foot or shoe over to the controller. So now he's totally connected, and you see over there, those two things just disappeared. Now we have to put this all back together. And we don't do it using the bone tool. The bone tool is done. We've connected everything with the bone tool. So we go back to our free transform tool. Click away, click on one thing, and we can move it. If we're on the select tool and we try and move this, see the little bone on the bottom of the select tool? It means you're actually going to move the bone. So I'm going to move this guy around. So if I try to move the head like it does that, we don't want that. So I'm going to undo. Don't use the move tool. Use the free transform tool to actually move. Or I should say, don't use the select tool. Use the free transform tool. Now notice the head is going behind the body. Well, that's kind of dumb. So right click, arrange, bring forward. Now it's in front. Now should it be down here? That's what I tend to forget. Or should it be up there? Well, let's go back to this. And look. Looks like the hair kind of touches the shoulder. So it doesn't have to be exact, but I don't know. I think that's pretty good where it is. Looks a little bit to the left. Sometimes the mouse could be jumpy where it doesn't get exactly where you want to go, so use your keyboard keys, the arrows, and you can get a little finer adjustments, 1 pixel at a time. So that looks good for me. I'm going to move the lower body up. And you'll notice it's in front of the purse, so that's no good. So I'm going to arrange that. Send backwards, so that's better. And then I'm going to do the arms and then the legs. So this arm, you can see it's a little shaded a little darker because it's in the back. So they darkened it a little just to give it a little more of a 3D effect. Shadowing actually, or shading I should say, gives you a little bit more on the perspective there. So, and if you notice, you don't get to see all the arm because some of it is behind the shoulder. So let's try and do that. Maybe zoom in once with Control Plus, click on this, move it, sort of like that, and then go back to this and see, does that look about right? It looks about right. And then move this thing in, the forearm. That looks about right. Maybe use my arrow key and move it a little bit. And then the hand, and then move the controller kind of close to the hand, like that. And then do the other arm. Now this arm is in the front, and notice obviously it's in the back, and it should be about as high as the other arm, right? Unless someone's got something wrong with their shoulders. You can see this one's about as high as that one. And actually it's not right over here. They put it actually almost under the eye. But of course I can't tell where it is because it's in the back. So let me right click and say arrange, bring forward. There we go. And put it almost under the eye and about the same level as the other arm. There we go. And then click on this one. The forearm, move it up. That's in the back, so let's bring that forward. Right click, arrange, bring forward. Maybe do it again. Bring forward. Uh-oh. There's a lot of things that it's behind. You actually can say arrange, bring it all the way to the front. Well, that works. And try and get that in the right spot. It's a little jumpy with my mouse, so I'll use my keyboard keys, my arrows. It looks a little bit of a gap over there, so I'm going to move it up once or twice, over, up. That's good. That looks better. Maybe down one. Even better. Good. And then click the hand, move that over. Click the controller, and move that over. So that's about what I had to begin with. But now I got it all linked with the bone tool. Looks like the hand is touching his butt pretty much. So I mean, I guess I could move this over a little, but that's close enough. And now, before I screw something up or something bad happens, let me save that. Since I already gave it a name and put it in the right spot, I just have to hit save instead of save as. Now I'm going to do the legs. Now the legs are a little tricky. If I do this leg first, it makes it hard to do the other leg because it's behind there. I really can't see how I'm lining up my knee joint. So I'm not going to do this one first. I'm going to do the left leg first. So let's go over here, and that's the one that's like a tad darker. So I think it's this one. So this one kind of goes over here. And it should be underneath the shoulder. So, or underneath the left arm, pretty much. So I think that's about right. Let's go and look. It's hard to tell. I think it's good. And then we're going to put this piece over here. Again, a little jumpy with the mouse, so I'm going to use my keyboard keys. Roll down with the mouse, move the foot up, or the shoe. Now obviously the shoe should be in front. I think. Let's look. Yeah, see how it's in front. So we got to move that forward. Or, yeah, bring forward, I should say. There we go. And this controller is the body. That's kind of throwing me off because it's near the foot, so let me move it down over here. And then the foot I want over here. And then this one actually is over here. And let's see. Under the shoulder, pretty good. Maybe up a little. Maybe over one or two. It's kind of crossing at the knee. I think it covers the knee. So let me see. Yeah. So I got to move that around a little if I want it to look like the other one. So this probably has to go this way a little. And this one maybe goes down a little and over a little. A little bit closer to the way it began. And then this. And it might even be part of this thing that's covering the knee. The lower leg, probably. And then move the foot. Bring it to the front. Or bring forward. And move the controller kind of out to the tip of the foot. So now, my college boy is all put back together. Just in case, let me save. And now, I want to start doing some animation on this. So, I go to my selection tool. Now watch what happens when I move, let's move this arm right here. As I move it, you can see like the shoulder is, people's shoulders don't slide down their body. They rotate, but they don't move. Also, you can see the elbow is like coming apart. That's all kind of weird. So a couple things we have to do. So I'm not going to leave it like this. I'm going to do Control Z to undo, put it back where it was. And I'm going to zoom in a couple times. Scroll over. So a couple things we need to do. One is we don't want the shoulder joint, we don't want this line moving down. So the way we can stop it is not let it rotate about this. So when we click on this line, let me see if I click on it. Is it the free transform? No. It's this tool, but it won't let me click for some reason. Let me try again. Come on. There we go. I don't know why I had to zoom out to click on that, but it worked. Now once that's highlighted in green, I come over here and I say joint rotation. I do not want it to rotate, so I'm turning it off. So now to show you, if I move this now, you see the shoulder rotates, but it does not slide up and down the body. So let me undo that. And now the reason why the elbow's coming apart, if I go to my free transform tool and I click on the elbow, you'll see that its rotation point is in the center of the forearm. So it's spinning around this. I want it to spin around basically this center of the elbow. So let's take a look at this. Let's zoom in. What does that mean exactly? So if I move this away, this is like a circle, a half a circle, and then a rectangle. Same thing on the other arm, and this is how they do these character animations. They make these two half circles overlap each other so that when it rotates, you don't see things coming apart. But the only way you can get that to work properly is if this dot, the rotation point, is at the center of this circle, and hopefully, if you line things up right, it'll also be the center of this circle, this half circle. So let me undo that, put it back where I had it, and try and put this in where I think the center of those two circles is. I think that's pretty good. Also, the wrist joint is here, not the center of your hand. We don't want it rotating around the center, we want it rotating around here. I'm going to take this and move it over there. So now if I zoom out and I go back to my select tool and I grab this controller and I move, you'll see it moves more like an arm should move, right? Rotating about the wrist and the elbow. The shoulder rotates as well, and now we're looking good. So I'm going to undo that, put it back where it was. This one over here, because I locked the rotation on this, it should have locked the rotation on this one as well. Let's see. And you'll see, yes, it's off. But, of course, I'm going to have to do the same thing with my hips. So I might as well do that now. If I click on this, you'll see it's on joint rotation. I'm going to turn it off. And click on this one, and just to verify that, oh, nope, that's the down to the body. This one over here, if I can get it, maybe zoom in. I want this one, hello. It's not letting me click on it, I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be locked, just like this one was locked. When we go to move it, we'll find out, and then we'll say, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be locked because I locked that one. But I still have to do my rotation points on the other pieces. So let me zoom in a little, go back to my free transform tool, click on this. That looks like it's at the center of that half circle. This rotation point is nowhere near there, so I kind of got to go over here. And then the wrist, move that to where, or that rotation point to where the wrist is. This rotation point should not be in the center of the upper leg, it should be in the hip joint, and the bottom leg should be at the knee joint, probably around there. And I think you can tell that these lines are off a little bit, so let me move that over, and let me move this over, and then move this dot into the center of the ankle, and then do this last leg, move the rotation point up to the center of the hip, move this to the where I think, it's kind of hard to tell now, I think that's going to be the knee, and this should be maybe over here. I think I have it. So now, just in case I mess up something, let's save. So now if I go back to my select tool, I should be able to grab any controller and have these things move like they're supposed to. Let me undo that and get this one. That kind of looks right. Well, the hand's not supposed to disappear, so that's got to come forward. Let me undo that and then click on the hand, right click and say arrange, bring to front. Let's try again. Alright, that's better. And you just got to verify those things. Do this one again. That should all go behind, and it does. Undo that. I'm undoing because I want them in the positions that it showed over here, because that's like the walk when the right leg is forward. So they kind of got that set for you, so I'm trying to keep it the same way after verifying that these things work right. So let's try this leg. He's in front. It stays in front of the body. I think it's the same color. I don't know. Let's zoom in. Actually, I think that leg is behind there, so we should click on this and say arrange, bring to front. There we go. But you know what? I want to undo it and put it back in the same position it was, and that's going to probably put it back to the back. But I'm pressing Control Z. Oops. I might have went back one too many. Okay, I think I'm okay. So this I want to click while it's in this position, because I undid the bring to front. So bring to front, there we go. And then check the last leg. That stays behind the other leg and the body, and it moves. Okay, so Control Z. Alright, so now I'm good. I got everything in position the way I want. And that's the first frame of my walk cycle. So let's say I'm going to have it go out to frame 16. So I'm going to click on frame 16 and press F5. So now when I move this playhead, I don't know why that's moving. Okay, I had a little glitch. Not sure exactly what it was, but when I went out to frame 16, pressed F5, as I moved my playhead, my legs were jiggling a little bit, and probably while making the video I went a little too far with that explanation and screwed something up. And I'll tell you what, if that happens to you, I mean, the only thing I could do, I tried to fix it. I paused the video for a while and I was fooling around with things and couldn't get it to work, so I just redid the whole thing, and now it's working right. In that, when I drag the playhead, you see no movement, and that's what you want. So what I want to do now is I want to right click on this dot, say copy pose, go to my last frame, frame 16, right click and say paste pose. So now this is the first step, or the beginning of his walk cycle, and the end. Somewhere in the middle, that's why I went out to 16, so frame 8, he's going to be in the opposite position, as in right arm forward, left arm back, and feet same way. So now is when I have to actually do my manipulation of these things and see if I can get it to look pretty good. So let's do this leg, this leg. Let's do this. Oop, that's the body. Let's do this leg first. So that's got to kind of come up where that other one is, right? Sort of like this. Don't twist the foot too much. Don't go too far forward. And then click the other one and kind of put that back, but like on the ground. And then click this one and put that back. Now I can put it behind the body, you don't even see it, but then it's kind of like where'd the arm go. So maybe give the arm a little, maybe the hand twist it back just a little and you can see it some. And then take this one and move it forward like this, and maybe twist the wrist if I can get it. Twist the wrist up just a little. There we go. Okay, so now let's click away and see how that looks. So here's my walk cycle. Ba-doom, ba-doom. He's walking. Now the last thing we want to do is these red controllers, and if you wanted to, you could animate the head a little bit over here. If I wanted to, let me see. Let's not screw the whole thing up. Let me move it a little bit. Alright. So now, if he was walking, alright, his head just jiggles a little bit as he walks. That makes it look a little bit more realistic. How about that? But we don't want to see these red things as he walks, so that's easy enough. Make sure you're on frame 1. Otherwise, the red things will disappear slowly because it's in animation. And we're going to make them disappear. So on our select tool, we click on the controller, we go over to color effects, and we say alpha, and you can make it 100 or 0. We're going to make it 0, so you don't see it right from the beginning. If the playhead was at the end, it would go from full red to invisible, and we don't want that. We want them to be invisible the whole time. So click, make sure frame 1, color effects alpha, and notice it puts it to 0 because I guess it figures if you're at 100, you probably want the opposite. So you don't actually have to slide it. It kind of does that for you automatically. You could always put it somewhere else, but in this case you only want 0, so do that for each one. And you're good. You got a walk cycle. These bones you don't see in the animation. Right? So now, and maybe my feet and my arms aren't so good, but you guys can make yours look better, maybe more realistic. So now I'm going back to scene 1. So now in my library, I have this college boy side symbol that has a built-in animation, like our bird. So I'm just going to save this, CV walk cycle. Now I'm going to go to my folder. And I could add a background to this and have him walk across the background, but I also have a couple things. Like I have my bird one. So if I make a copy of this, because I don't want to mess it up, so I'm going to copy that, go back to my main folder, paste it. Now it says bird animation. I'm going to rename it to bird animation with character walking. I mean, name it anything you want. I won't leave it the same name. So now I double click on that, or do the way we've been used to, file open. And I gotta find it. What did it? Bird animation with character walking. There we go. Open that. So here's my bird animation that I had done previously. Boop. Right? That's my bird. So if I make a new layer, and I call it College Boy, and I don't have him over here in my library, but if I go back to my College Boy thing and I right click on this symbol and say copy, and then go to my new one and right click in the library and say paste, I now have my College Boy symbol. So while on the first frame of that new layer, I'm going to drag that symbol onto the stage over here, off the stage a little bit. It's kind of big. I mean, birds are kind of small, so maybe that's okay, but I think I'd like him smaller. So I'm going to free transform him down a little. Oops. Click on him. Pretty much want him, his feet like on the ground, let's say. So right around there. I'm going to right click here and say create motion tween. And then of course he's walking, but he's not moving. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Go to my last frame. Just click on him. Put him over here. So now my animation is he walks across while the bird flies. You could also put him on your cartoon mashup thing if you like that better. If you don't like any of them or either of them and you just want to add him to some background and have him walk around, that would be pretty good too. But there you have it. That's how you take one of those built-in assets, make it walk, and then put it in another project so that that character can then walk across that project. Very good. Thank you.